Hello, Beard Wizard family. Welcome back to Day 6, Battle of the Beer Advent Calendars, where we pit Germany's Kalia Beer Advent Calendar, available at Costco, versus Lodi Tap House's Illinois Beer 24 Beers of Christmas Advent Calendar. Basically, Germany versus Illinois. And I see which one I like better from day to day. This is a non-scientific live review from somebody who is kind of a beer snob, but I'm not some beer expert. I'm not a beer sommelier. I'm not someone who does. It's just me telling you what I think and talking about beer, and maybe you learn something and maybe you're entertained. If you're playing the home game like a buddy of mine, Jeremy, again, we're on day 6. We'll talk about which ones are coming up, but make sure you have your beer ready, and you tell me what you think. Before we jump into that, though, make sure you click the subscribe button. Check out the other ways to support this channel, like thebeardstruggle.com. We just got the wizard beard all trimmed up and nice, and I keep it clean and healthy by using the Beard Struggles products. I like it. It's the best value and quality for men's beard care products. So check it out if you have a beard in your life, or you want to save some money, or you have some beard. You have a beard of your own that you want to keep smelling nice. Anyway, so today, day 6. What have we got today? From Germany. Oh, and this is early. Sorry, this is a little early. We're going out tonight, and I want to get this done so I can have a little time for the beer to settle before we go out to dinner. Because drinking 2 beers back to back the way I do this tends to mean I need to take it easy the rest of the night. I usually have a couple more beers, but I drink 2 beers really quickly doing this show. Anyway, from Germany, we have the Hosl-Brau Marzenbier. I think we had this one last year, but now I can't remember based on the label. This is a Marzen-style beer from Hosl-Brau, and I don't recognize this website, so maybe we didn't. We didn't do this one. And the beer... Oh, where'd it go? About us. There we go. I want to give you guys a little history like I always do. So where does it start? Here we go. True love was the beginning of a great vision more than 100 years ago. Our history is that of our region are firmly rooted in one another, and we have retained that to this day. The love for our homeland and the love for the people who live there. That is why we are particularly committed to regional products. The brewery's been around for over 100 years. It's in its 3rd generation. They had a major fire in 1957, which did not prevent them from continuing on. As they say, they keep brewing, and it is a family establishment. Small group of people now. They've got a picture of their team here in front of a large wall of the Hosl boxes and everything. And then it talks about taking a trip there. So this brewery is not as old as some of the ones that we've been looking at. But still over 100 years of practice making beer. That is pitted against White Oak Brewing's Red Flannel Jacket. Make sure you can see that label. It's a very cool label. I like that. The graphics on this, probably the best graphics we've had so far. And I've actually been looking forward to this one because I like red ales. So I'm hoping... I am expecting good things out of this one versus what we've had so far in the previous 5 days because I'm a fan of red ales. So we'll see how that one goes. White Oak Brewing, there's not a lot on their website as far as when they were established or anything, but they're in Normal, Illinois. They're actually very close to where I live. So I will probably pop out and visit these guys. A Marzen-style beer we talked about before. It's usually a rich malty beer with clean hop bitterness. Similar to a Vienna lager, this says toasted bread or biscuit-like malt aromas. I'm used to Marzens being a little bit darker. Marzen stands for March. This is traditionally brewed in the spring and aged or lagered through the summer. I guess it can fall. It's called a dark lager, so it can fall a little bit more toward the amber color. This one is actually very light compared to what I'm used to. And a Marzen is typically what you would see in an Oktoberfest style beer. So all of those Leinenkugels, the Sam Adams, all the Oktoberfest we're used to getting over here, that is traditionally a Marzen style beer. So that's what that is. And then an American red ale is similar to a pale ale or an IPA, but is more malty, is more caramely, should be less bitterness. but more bitter than an American amber ale. So we'll see where this falls. I do tend to prefer more toward the amber ale style, but I do like red ales too, as long as they're not too hoppy. If it's too close to an IPA, it may not make it, but we'll see. I just realized my hat is really low over my eyes. Let's fix that so you guys can see that. Not that you want to see my eyes. Anyway, all right, so we're going to let Germany go first in our nice Stein that I think I actually got this one last year for Christmas. I'm not even sure this made last year's Advent calendar show, but that is my, actually it might have. So that is my new Stein from last year. Hopefully I get a nice new one this year. Hint, hint. But here we go. Prost. This one's also harder to drink out of because the lid's really small and it's a very small. This is actually not a half-liter Stein, so it's a little bit smaller. That's a pretty good Marzen. Again, I love Oktoberfest beers. I love Marzens. That one is a little light on flavor for me for a Marzen. I usually am looking for a little more body in a Marzen, a little bit more flavor, a little bit more of that toasted kind of smoky flavor, but it's still very good. It's very clean tasting, but it's not too bad. The bitterness that I would expect is there. The smokiness is there a little bit, but it's not like what I usually get from an Oktoberfest. Even like when I buy the Oktoberfests that are imported, like the Hockershores or the Paulanners, they're usually a little bit richer than this one. So not too bad, but not the best Marzen I've ever had. All right, so now up with the American Red Ale, and that is red. You can see in its coloring. It did have a pretty decent head. It didn't retain it for the few minutes that it was sitting here, but it did start with a pretty decent head. The German beer still has pretty good head, which is a lot of that flavor, those aromatics, and that carbonation. That's part of the experience. So anybody tells you want to pour a beer like this all the time with no head, they're doing it wrong. You do want some head. You don't want a ton. You don't want to be sipping like just foam the whole time. But those aromatics that come out in the head, when you go to take a drink, that's the first thing you get is the smell of the beer, and your nose plays a very important part in how you taste things. So when you pour right and you get the right amount of head, then you're releasing a lot of that flavor, a lot of those aromatics in the carbonation. If you just pour it as flat as possible and try to get no head, you're not releasing much of that. So you're not going to get as much of the flavor as you would if you poured it correctly. I may actually have to do a show on how to pour different beers, maybe at some point. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe that is an upcoming show on what type of beers go with what glasses and how to pour them. That might actually be a really interesting show. Anyway, cheers. That's actually really good. Oh, that's tough. That's got really good flavor. It's not super hoppy like I was afraid of. Some red ales that I've had are either really good, mild on the hoppiness, good on the caramelization, and then some of them are super hoppy and almost like just a red IPA. This is very well balanced with the bitterness, with the hoppiness. It's got that caramely, smoky malt flavor to it, which is good. This is a warm drink. Like, this is a cold weather drinking beer. This is one of the types of beers that I like to drink when it's cold outside. That's very, very good. Oh, I've got a tough one today, boys and girls. Hold on. Let's try this again. All right. Clear the palate. I didn't actually do that. Let's make sure we're getting no... This one's going to be close. That's delicious. I could drink that. I could drink that on the regular. That's really good. All right. Okay. Here we go. One more time for the Marzen. I think I know what's going to hurt this one, but we'll see. Yeah, unfortunately, the Marzen just doesn't, because it doesn't taste like most Marzens that I tend to get, whether they be an American-made Oktoberfest style beer or an imported Marzen. This one, it just does not have the flavor profile I would expect from an Oktoberfest style Marzen beer. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad beer. It's just when I've got the choice of two really good beers, I'm going to have to go with which one tastes the most like what I would expect and which one I would drink the most. This one actually kind of has a soury, bitter aftertaste that I'm not digging either. The more I let that settle, the more I'm not enjoying the aftertaste of this Marzen. Yep, I think we're going to have to give it to Illinois. Takes its first win of this competition this year with Red Flannel Jacket. Good job, White Oak Brewery. This is a really good red ale. Oh, excuse me. I would love to see what they do with an amber. Hopefully they do it, because amber ale is one of my favorites. Oh, excuse me. Almost burped again. So I'd really like to see what they do with an amber. This was delicious. Illinois takes it today. I think, what are we on? Day 6. So it's 5-1. Germany is still winning, but Illinois is on the board. So, yeah, come back tomorrow for not tomorrow, for day 7, most likely. It really depends. So the next couple days are going to be up in the air. I've got some stuff. I've got plumbers coming over actually tomorrow. And I have to go pick up somebody from the airport tomorrow night. So I have to be able to drive. And Friday, I've got my company Christmas party. So we may be doing 2 double features this weekend on Saturday and Sunday to play catch up. So stay tuned. I may or may not have one of these shows tomorrow. But come back in a little bit for our Beard Wizard reviews. We'll be taking a look at The Warning because it's Wednesday. And I'll be reviewing one of their songs. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll see y'all again soon. You have a great one. Much love.